Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I think it's 10 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. I'm Sharon McClue, and the other person who will be doing part of the introduction is Jerry Shapins over here. We're part of the planning committee for the local Parkinsons support group. And there are a couple other planning committee members here. Tom back there, and Gail and Rich Wildell, the planning, and Helen Maisler. So the planning committee is a volunteer group that organizes these meetings. We try to identify topics that people will be interested in. We arrange for the speakers and we do the newsletter. So it's all volunteer. If any of you in the future want to think about how you might get involved, that's a good way to do it. The other good volunteer opportunity is helping to plan and organize the social events. We have a picnic in the summer and we have a holiday party in the winter. So I want to thank Fraser Meadows for letting us use this amazing space. They have graciously let us have our meetings here for many years now. I also want to thank Fraser's staff. Nikki and the IT staff have been great in terms of helping these meetings run smoothly and helping us arrange the meeting even when the dates get mixed up. So thank you. I also want to thank Parkinson's Association of the Rockies and Sally Hardy, who is also a volunteer. PAR helps us by giving us their Zoom account to use for these meetings. And we have a number of people watching on Zoom as well. So welcome to them. Logistics, there are restrooms in the hall out here if you should need one. A reminder about the holiday party. It's happening on December 10th at the Valmont Community Presbyterian Church. It's at 3262 61st Street. So it's really at the intersection of Valmont and 61st. The time is 11 to 1. There's a sign-up sheet over here. If anyone would like to, we need some volunteers to help set up, which means coming a little early, and to clean up afterwards, which means staying a little late. We also ask everyone to bring some kind of dish to share. The paper plates, drinks will all be provided. But so there's sign-up sheets if you want to help set up or clean up. You can also sign up for food if you want to, but you don't have to sign up for food. Just bring something along to share. Things that are easy to eat. I think that's it on my part. I'll turn it over to Jerry, who's going to introduce our speaker and our topic today. This is one near and dear to our hearts because we've recently gone through this process and moved into Fraser Meadows about 6 months ago. And we were so very thankful that we started thinking about this a number of years ago and started planning for it. So, Jerry?
So let me say a few things about Nate Samek and Baird. For one, our speaker today. We have worked with Baird, my wife and I, for a number of years, and they have offered us amazing service to really figure out how much money we have and what we can do with our money. And a lot of that has to do with what kind of housing we will live in. We know that we're going to move, and there's lots of choices out there, and Baird's been great helping us with that. I knew Nate basically because he gave a talk here about 18 months ago. It was a great talk. It was really organized and people really learned. So I really got to learn about Nate that way. And then I've worked with Nate for the last year, more or less, on this topic, really how to plan for our lives, for our care, and our communities. And Nate's been really great doing that. So welcome, Nate Samek. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jerry. Thank you to you. I appreciate the kind words and the introduction. Good morning to everybody here, both at Fraser and then joining us through Zoom. As Jerry said, my name's Nate Samek. I'm a financial advisor with the Boulder group at Baird. Just a little bit about my background here before we get started. I've been doing
Nate, could you hold on 1 second? I was going to introduce the topic and then I'll let you roll.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So basically, the way I look at this, figuring out housing, how to live, how to pay for it, is kind of our last dance at the ultimate creativity. How do we live and how do we live with people? It's such a great opportunity that we all have, no matter what kind of health we're in. We all have all kinds of issues, particularly the Parkinsons community, but we all have to make these decisions. So we're all in this together. I think it's really great to be intentional. It's really great to plan the future. And this particular issue, figuring out how to live in the United States when you have health issues and where you will live and how that will affect your lifestyle and your sense of community is a huge deal. And there's so much you can do about it. And there's so much you can do to pay attention to that. You just have to start to be intentional, do it as early as you can, and perhaps have somebody helping you with the spreadsheets, the criteria, the choices, and navigating an extremely chaotic world. And you all know this. It's very chaotic out there. There's so many decisions to be made, and there's lots of people that want to help you. But it's worth kind of venturing into that issue and trying to make the right decision for yourself. So with that, sorry, Nate. So Nate's going to help us figure out how to plan, how to perhaps make choices, and how to save a little bit of money along the way. Thank you, Nate.
Thanks, Jerry. Sorry to get started there before you were ready. So appreciate the introduction. As Jerry said, I'll piggyback off of him. I think starting early is the key to all of this. Doesn't matter where you are in life. Making sure that you're starting to have a plan and understanding your options is key. And hopefully today I'll be able to provide that information or at least some resources to you. Just a little bit about me. I've been doing retirement planning for my clients the past 16 years, more specifically, helping them navigate elder care and retirement communities. I have my certified financial planners designation and certified investment management analyst designation. A couple more things here before we jump into the presentation. One, just have to note that Baird is not affiliated with any facility or resource referenced in the presentation. And also, I'm not a tax advisor or a CPA. I recommend reviewing the tax strategies we discussed today with your CPA and tax advisor. And then question-wise, if questions come up during the presentation, feel free to use the comment box. I will be monitoring sporadically throughout the presentation. I'm not good at multitasking, so I can't guarantee you I'll grab your question right away, but what I can guarantee is we will get to it. There will be a question and answer section here once the presentation is complete. So that pulls us into our next slide here, which is really what we're here to talk about today, PD living choices and how to plan for the future. Want to run over just today's focus areas. So we're going to start with the importance of making informed care and housing decisions. We're going to then jump over to the types of care and housing options available to you. We're going to check out the services provided by those care options. As Jerry had mentioned, everybody's case is unique, and so it's going to be your responsibility of figuring out what services you need and how they best fit into what the options are available. And then last on our list, we'll do evaluation of personal expenses and strategies for budgeting. So the importance of making informed care and housing decisions. Personalized care. Each person's journey with aging requires different needs and preferences. Informed decisions really ensure the care provided is tailored to your specific requirements, really enhancing your comfort and your dignity. We also have to keep in mind safety and access to services. You know, as your health changes, safety becomes really a major concern. You know, choosing the right housing option can help mitigate risks associated with mobility issues, you know, whether it be falls or other complications. Access to services, you know, different housing options offer varying levels of access to medical care, therapy, and support services. Knowing what's available can ensure that the person receives the comprehensive care that they need. Financial planning, understanding the costs associated with the different care options and planning accordingly can prevent financial strain. The process starts with understanding your own income, costs, and building a budget. We're going to dive deep into that today. This also includes exploring insurance options, government programs, and other financial resources. Emotional well-being, familiar and supportive environment can significantly improve emotional health. Making informed decisions helps in finding a place that feels like home and provides a sense of community. And then last on the list is just family involvement. You know, typically informed decisions often involve family members, you know, ensuring that everyone is on the same page and working together to provide the best care for you.
Yeah, these are people not necessarily acting at the.
So let's jump into care options. There's going to be 3 buckets that we're going to look at today. There's home-based care and support, community-based care and support, as well as facility-based care and support. You may be using one of these options right now. You may not. You may, through your journey, end up using all 3 of these options, but want to review each of them as, again, they're going to be specific to what it is your care need is. And let's dive in by first starting with home-based care and support. We're going to review each one of these to provide more detail on what is offered and which options fit best for where you are now and where you might be in the future. To start, we'll go ahead and look at personal care services and homemaker services. So personal care services are designed to help individuals with activities of daily living. These services are typically provided by personal care assistants and include tasks like bathing and grooming, mobility, toileting, feeding, or medication reminders. We then have homemaker services. This focuses on maintaining a clean, safe, and organized home environment, and typically includes the items listed here: housekeeping, laundry, meal prep, errands, and companionship. That then takes us over to meal delivery and transport services. So for meal delivery services, this is really a vital service for older adults who may have difficulty preparing meals for themselves, or for adults that just want a break from making food. The services provide nutritious, balanced meals delivered directly to the individual's home. And then we also have transportation services, which are essential for ensuring that individuals can access medical appointments, grocery stores, and social activities. You'll see here at the bottom, I've got listed here in blue just a few companies within the area that offer these services. There's a handful that are available, but I just wanted to give an idea of some that are local that you could reference if you'd like. The next topic areas are going to be home health aides and companion services. Home health aides provide essential support to individuals who need assistance with daily living activities due to illness, disability, or aging. They work under the supervision of registered nurse or therapist and follow specific care plans tailored to your individual needs. Companion services really focus on providing social interaction and emotional support to individuals. They can also help with medical appointments, community access, and safety. To round out the home-based care, we've got case managers and hospice support. So case managers are just healthcare professionals who help provide individuals and families a navigation of the complex healthcare system. They'll help coordinate care to achieve the better health outcome for you. Hospice support is a specialized care for individuals in final phase of terminal illness. They focus on enhancing the quality of life and ensuring comfort rather than curing the illness. That brings us to our second bucket of care-based option, which is going to be your community-based care. These are going to be available for individuals that may still be living on their own through the home-based system, or maybe facility-based that they just want to take advantage of. We're going to look at adult day services and senior services. So adult day services provide a safe and supportive environment for adults who need supervision and social interaction during the day. They'll provide therapeutic activities, health services, and respite for caregivers, which is important. From the senior center side, similar, but are just a community-based facility that offers a variety of programs and services for aging adults. They aim to promote healthy aging and provide opportunities for social engagement, education, and recreation. The other two important community-based care options are for actual caregivers themselves. We've got caregiver support groups and respite care. These are instrumental in making sure that your caregiver is in their best state of mind and health to be able to offer you what you need. So caregiver support offers a range of resources and assistance to help caregivers manage their responsibilities and maintain their own well-being. Caregiver support could include information or referral sources. They provide training and educational programs, individual counseling, and then also support groups. The other option here for caregivers is just respite care. And respite care provides just temporary relief for family caregivers, allowing them to take a break from the caregiving responsibilities. Respite care can, be taken on through an hourly or a multiple day scenario. Respite care can be, given in-home or at a care facility, and really, again, just helps to prevent burnout and maintain the health of the caregiver. This then brings us to our last bucket of care-based options, which is the facility-based care and support. The most common that I'm sure you've all heard of are assisted living and continuing care retirement communities. You're sitting in one right now as we speak. For assisted living, these are facilities that provide a combination of housing, personalized support services, and healthcare designed to respond to individuals who need help with daily activities, but wish to live independently as possible. The continuing care retirement communities, or also known as CCRCs, they offer a spectrum of care from independent living to assisted living and skilled nursing care, all within one location. This feature is what makes them so popular. Really provides residents an easy, seamless transition between levels of care as their needs change. And it's the least disruptive, which is why it's so popular. The other two from this category are board and care homes, as well as skilled nursing. Board and care homes are small private residents that provide personal care and support to a small number of residents. So if you're not up for a larger facility, this may be a good option for you. They provide similar features such as the personal care, meal prep, medication management, and social activities. And then from the skilled nursing side, skilled nursing facilities provide high level of medical care for individuals who need more intensive support than what can be provided at home or in an assisted living facility. These services are delivered by a team of healthcare professionals, including registered nurses, as well as therapists. So I'm sure you're all wondering, well, where do we start, or how do we find out which place works for us best? I've found using the research tool through aplaceformom.com is a good resource to start your research. It's a starting point to provide you the available facilities within your area. It does a good job of doing side-by-side comparisons if you like. It will include, as you can see here, I've built just one for reference, provides reviews, provides pricing details, which is important, as well as other specifics to the property. So I recommend starting here to build your list. And once you've got your list, I highly recommend visiting each one of the options that you've chosen in person to meet the staff, talk to the residents, recommend having a meal, and then really finding out if it offers the comfort that you're needing and looking for in your future home. So now that we've got the care options or care-based options laid out, the menu available, we do need to evaluate personal expenses so that you can prepare for the future. And that's going to start with a bunch of data gathering. This is going to start by evaluating your current assets and liabilities. I recommend gathering statements for all of your accounts and or using.
Could you hold on 1 second?
Yeah.
I just want to take a pause from the first section and see if anybody has any questions or any clarifications that Nate can offer. I just want to see if anybody has that interest, or online. We can look at the chat too, in terms of all the variety of services and so forth. I know I had one question on the respite care for caregivers at Boulder County. I wonder what they do. Do you know the respite care? If you go back on the slide that showed respite care, and you show the Boulder County. Yeah, right.
Boulder County Caregiver Initiative.
What is that? Do you know what that is?
That's a local organization that provides respite care. They also have multiple resources. I just thought that it was a good resource to note that people could visit to one, gain more knowledge, but two, if they were in need of respite care, that would be a good starting point.
So that's for the caregiver.
Correct.
Caregiver. It's not a hotel. It's not a spa.
No. So respite care, they would come in and help take care of the patient while the caregiver takes time to take care of themselves, have downtime, go to the gym, whatnot.
I get it. So it's like a babysitting service.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to clarify and, understand myself, because I didn't really understand that. Okay. Sorry.
No, I think that's a great question. And that would be more, you can use that service anywhere, but that's going to be probably more specific to more home-based people that are trying to age in place and remain at home. These would be outside services that can come in and help out. Say, for instance, if a son or daughter is your caretaker, providing them the time needed for them to be able to do the things to keep themselves healthy and able to take care of you.
Yeah, it's great. What a great service. So here's another question.
I had a question about I can't see it on there now, but you're talking about a place where you can go, like a home. Did you say a home?
Oh, to do your research here for, let me get back to the slide here. Give me 1 second. You talking about a place for mom?
No, I was talking about your presentation. You said something about you could go to an individual home.
Oh, one of the board and care homes?
Yes, a board and care
Or
home.
smaller private residence that provides personal care and support?
How do you
Yeah.
find them, and where
Yep.
are they? How do you
And
find?
what's your question regarding that?
How do you find them? You
So
locate them.
those can be found through a place for mom.com as well.
You can?
They will be able to provide, you know, a broad range of services available to the aging population.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Nate. I'm sorry to have interrupted. You can continue. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so we're going to jump into the financial aspect of this and the planning. And to do that, we need to gather a bunch of data. We're going to first look at current assets and liabilities. And I recommend gathering either statements or building out an Excel spreadsheet to just input your data for your assets and liabilities. And we're going to start with after-tax accounts. This is going to be accounts that may be titled in your individual name, in joint name, in trust. They could be checking accounts, savings accounts, investment accounts. All of those apply. We also need to consider retirement accounts. That's going to range from IRAs, whether it be a traditional, a SEP, a simple, a Roth, to 401ks. Other investments, you may have health savings account, maybe some real estate above and beyond your primary residence, any tangible investments, maybe coins or metals, private investments, and maybe some oil and gas royalties. All of that will fall into your current asset category. And then we also need to take into consideration debt, your mortgage, your car loan, credit card debt, and other consumer loans. That'll round out our assets and liabilities, which then will bring us to evaluating your current income. And current income is going to be inclusive of Social Security. Many of you may also be receiving pensions. There's also going to be maybe other income sources. Maybe you have part-time work or full-time work that you're doing. You could have rental income from a rental property that you own, annuity income, or investment income. All of those will be placed in this category as well. And then we need to calculate your current monthly expenses as kind of a third step. And this one sometimes is overwhelming for individuals that I work with, but really the easiest way to evaluate your current monthly expenses is to just look at your checking or your credit card statement. I recommend just pulling a monthly statement, which provides your total withdrawal amount for the month. Many banks now too have started to provide an annual spending report that actually categorizes your spending over the year. So that would also be an option. One thing that's super important when you're gathering this data and you're evaluating it is to be sure that you're going to remove any one-off expenses that you know, are not reoccurring. Maybe you made a large gift, a one-time gift that is not reoccurring and you won't be doing in the future, or maybe you purchased a new car. Those things would want to be removed from our analysis because they're one-off items. And so checking and credit card statements we talked about. The other option too, if you're savvy with computers and phone applications, is you could use a budgeting software. Two of which I've used personally are Copilot and Mint. There are many more out there, but these applications will link to your checking account and credit cards, and they'll consolidate all of your transactions and categorize them for you, and pretty much building out your spending summary. You will have to make some manual adjustments because the technology doesn't always get it right, but very easy to use and kind of a simple way to get the information. One other note here on budgeting software, many banks nowadays are including this type of software actually within their online accounts. So if you bank online, recommend reviewing your online services that are available to you and seeing if they offer any budget software help. Once we've gathered that information, we've evaluated the current situation pertaining to your assets, your liabilities, your income and expenses. We do need to consider the other side of the equation, which are the future expenses. And when your care-based plan changes, so you're moving from maybe home over to assisted living or an independent living situation, your expenses obviously are going to change as well. And oftentimes some of your current expenses are going to remain or kind of transition with you, and others will fall off. And so I just want to bring that to your attention. Everybody's case is different, but just a few thoughts here, like mortgage and rent. If you're currently living in your home and you have a mortgage and rent payment, you will no longer have that. That'll transition to the rent that you're paying at the facility. Property taxes, you won't have a property tax bill anymore, so you can remove that from your future expenses. Insurance should decrease. You will no longer have to have home insurance, but you're going to need renter's insurance. Food and groceries expense will definitely travel with you, but typically many of these care options that are available do offer a food plan. And so your food and groceries will also be included. HOA fees will no longer be applicable. And then many of these facility-based care units include utilities and cable TV and wireless internet. So just important to keep in mind that these monthly fees could be inclusive of the several categories that you're currently spending at home. So once you've taken the time to gather your current data and visited your choice of care options to obtain their pricing, we'll need to bring both sides together for comparison. And to do that, I recommend using a budget worksheet similar to what we see here. I use this with my clients with great success and find this to be really a great visual and one-stop solution to really understanding your spending and what you will likely spend in the future. The worksheet provides 2 columns to enter your data. One on the left side for current expenses, and then one just next to it to input your care option expenses that you're forecasting. The worksheet auto calculates and gives you a result so that you can have a quick side-by-side comparison. If you're interested in getting a copy of this, I'm more than happy to send that over to you. I'll have my contact information at the end of the presentation here. And then second, I think Jerry probably wouldn't mind if me sending that via email over, and then he would be able to distribute out for those that would like to use it. Now that we've got kind of an evaluation of where we're at and where we're going, the other thing that many come across is how are we going to fund this? And more specifically, when you're moving from your personal residence over to a retirement community, what does that look like? And so I wanted to run over 2 of the options that we discuss or that I use with my clients, and that is one, real estate, or the second one is investments. And so let's just take a deeper dive into each of these and discuss the things to consider. So starting with real estate, many people fund their transition by selling their primary home, which requires them to sell to obtain the funds before they can actually move to the retirement community. Many of the clients I work with want more time to be able to transition from the sale of their home over to the retirement community. And so I use 2 strategies to help provide this time that they're looking for. The first is going to be a sale plus leaseback. And really all that is once you've sold your home, you will lease back the house from the buyer for a period of time. My clients typically include 1 to 2 months of leaseback after the sale, so they have ample time to pack and transition to the retirement community. Another option that is also useful is either a bridge loan or a securities-based line of credit. A bridge loan is offered at banks. It's a strategy that provides liquidity similar to a mortgage, but with different terms. This would allow you time to stay in your home, move to the retirement community, and then sell your home, at which point the proceeds from the sale would pay off the bridge loan, and the remainder would be then moved to you to be used, to continue to fund your lifestyle. The other option is the securities-based line of credit. This is a loan that's established and collateralized by your after-tax investment assets. This can be set up with your financial advisor or the brokerage firm that you hold your assets with. And this type of loan is relatively easy to set up and can be completed in 10 business days with minimal underwriting. The other area that we discussed on previous slide was investments, and this source will require evaluation from the tax side on how best to fund. We're going to look at the source of funds and more specifically gains and losses and taxes. So let's move here over to the next slide and we'll discuss some tax considerations for both of these sources. So for real estate, they have what they call the home exclusion. And what this is when you sell your primary residence, you can avoid paying capital gains taxes on the first $250,000 of profits if you're a tax filing status as single, and up to $500,000 if you're married filing joint. There's a few requirements to qualify for the home exclusion. You must meet both of them. The first one is the home you are selling must be your primary residence. And the IRS defines that as having lived in the home for at least 2 of the last 5 years. And then the second requirement is the exemption is only available for use once every 2 years. The other tax consideration on the real estate side is going to be calculating your cost basis. Cost basis is what you paid for your home, plus any improvements you've made while owning it. And improvements may include remodeling, maybe you made a home addition, new windows or a new roof. Any of those would qualify as improvement. And once you have this number, then you can calculate your cost basis. And I think probably best for us to just talk about a hypothetical example. So let's just say you've purchased a home 20 years ago for $350,000. You've made improvements of 150 over those 20 years, and your home just sold for $1.2 million. So we're going to go ahead and take the basis that you paid for the house. So that's the 350,000. We're going to add in the 150,000 of improvements. And then our home exclusion that we just learned about is also going to be added in. And we're going to assume in this example that you're married filing joint, which brings your cost basis to $1 million. So you're actually going to only pay taxes on 200,000 less any commissions that you pay, given this cost basis that we've come up with. And in this example, this has allowed us to remove roughly $650,000 of gains from the sale, which is a huge tax savings. To give you an idea here, I can just calculate it. If you had to pay tax on gains of $650,000, that would be a $97,000 tax bill. So a good strategy and good thing to be aware of if you're going to be using real estate to fund your transition. The other option for funding would be investments, and this is going to be really specific on where you're going to source the funding. So are you using after-tax assets, or are you going to be using retirement assets? Both of them are taxed differently and important to know so that you can understand really what you're gonna your end result will be. So after-tax assets are taxed as either short-term or long-term capital gains. Short-term gains are taxed at your income rate, and long-term gains are taxed at 0, 15, or 20%, depending on your income for the year. Retirement assets, on the other hand, are taxed 100% as income for whatever you withdraw. The only caveat here is Roth assets. So Roth IRA assets are not taxed. Those are tax-free and are also obviously a good source given that they're tax-free. But I recommend evaluating your investments. The other thing that we use with clients to help offset gains and taxes would be what we call tax loss harvesting. This is just throughout the year, we evaluate the investments that the client holds. If we have some investments at a loss, we go ahead and sell those investments and book the loss, and then reinvest so that we remain invested in the market, but we're just kind of stockpiling those losses so that when we do eventually sell, and have gains to fund our transition to a retirement home, we have losses to offset the gains. So this then brings us to results. One that we've been talking a lot about is the budget worksheet and the comparison. This, I think, is a good starting point and really something that everybody should do. But I think better would be, once you've completed your budget worksheet, have an understanding of what you're spending, how much you have, and then where you would like to go. Visiting that retirement community resource, many of them have representatives that specifically work with this type of transition in helping you review your budget, your expenses, and finding out if your resources will be able to get you access to the retirement community. I know you all are sitting at Fraser right now. They've actually built their own affordability calculator for their prospective residences that allows them to input all of the information and data that I've helped you review today into that calculator. And then it spits out a result letting you know which apartment would be affordable given your scenario. The other thing that I'd recommend would be consulting with a financial advisor or a tax advisor. We have in-depth modeling tools that we can use after obtaining data from you in regards to your specific situation, that will provide year-to-year details for expenses and taxes and asset value. So that concludes my presentation, and I want to move into having any questions that you all might have.
Thank you, Nate. That was great. Okay. So here in the live audience, we have a microphone and we'll go around. And also on the chat, after we do the live chat, everybody has questions there. Right now, there's no questions on the chat. And once we go through that, I have questions too. So Gail?
Nate, how do we factor in the long-term healthcare insurance that some of us have?
That would be inclusive of building that into your budget, because that will be an income source when it becomes available to you. You'll have to obviously qualify through the daily living activities. I think it's 2 of the 5 that you can't complete yourself that then would initiate that benefit to pay out to you. So that line item would really be, quote, an income source once you move into that long-term care scenario. I would note that as more of a larger what if, because it's very dependent on your health and whether or not you're able to complete those daily living activities. We hope that you don't move into not being able to complete those. But if you do, then that would be considered an income source to help fund the expenses.
Thank you.
Are there other questions? Oh, go ahead. Sorry. There's none. So Nate, there's a couple questions that I have. What about people that don't own a house or do not have investments? There's lots of people out there like that. And I wonder, what do they do? What is the normal sequence of assistance or education? Or what do people who don't have real estate or investments do? Do you know that answer? Or
not specifically. My recommendation would be working with like a case manager, as I had mentioned earlier on, from like a home-based care option. They're going to have resources available above and beyond, obviously, what I have, but will be able to help navigate and provide the options available for those that don't have a home to help fund a transition. There are housing options, that are less expensive. And that's why I didn't get into specifics in regards to this facility versus that facility, because everybody's need is going to be different, not only from a financial standpoint, but also from a care standpoint, which in turn, I mean, they're kind of a revolving circle. The more care you need, the more money you're going to have to spend. And so my recommendation would be to work with a case manager to find out the best resources locally for those individuals.
So a public sector generally
Yeah.
provides. Yeah. My other question also has to do with, there's lots of, again, like we talked about, financial, practical issues, really understanding the care that you need. But what about the intangibles of the community where you live, the community that's in your neighborhood? What about the qualities of the setting of your neighborhood? And what kind of lifestyle do you like to live? These are all issues that affect people's health.
Yep.
How much care they need perhaps. And how do, I guess my question is, how do your clients factor in those issues into the discussion and compilation with the spreadsheets?
With making the decision. Yeah, I think I think the spreadsheet and pricing evaluation is one puzzle piece to the entire puzzle. The other is what you're talking about. Is this a place that I feel at home? Does it offer the community that I like? Does it offer the space that provides enjoyment for me? And our recommendation, and I even go with clients to visit these retirement communities. We have lunch, we do a tour. We just get in and really try to understand what's offered there so that the client can have a more informed decision and feel comfortable about that decision. This is a huge transition, and it's a big change for all of you. And we're all humans. Nobody likes change. But I think if you can work to do your research, understand the items that are most important to you and what you need in order to live a healthy, enjoyable life, list those out prior to visiting these places, and then make sure that those are the key things that you're researching when you're visiting these places to confirm that they do offer what it is you're looking for. And then if they don't, I would say that you would remove that from your option and move to the next place. Ultimately, you have to enjoy where you're going to be. Other family members can tell you they want you here or there, but ultimately it's going to be you that has to live there on a day-to-day basis, and making sure that you're comfortable, I think, is a primary concern.
Thank you, Nate. That was great.
I would just ask the group here, because some of you have made this transition already and others may be considering it. For those of you who've made it, were there major factors or problems that you ran into? What were the biggest issues? And for those of you who are just maybe starting to look at this, what is the biggest obstacle or concern that you have at this point? Anybody, or online as well?
I'll go ahead and just speak here real quick. I obviously have not run through this transition personally, but majority of my clients have. And the number one thing that we hear from our clients is they wish they would have done it sooner. Prior to that, they were like, I don't really want to do this. And as soon as they moved in, got comfortable, and we've asked them, how are things going? They 9 times out of 10 will say, I wish I would have done it sooner, because it really provides them opportunity to have a more relaxed life and not have so much responsibility with, maybe an individual home or an apartment.
Thanks very much, Nate. This is Hill. I would just add that one of the things I'm glad we decided that even though we had no health issues at all when we chose to come to Fraser, we just made the decision that we had one thing happening that was going to create a need for some care, and that was we were getting older. And that just brings with it a desire to have life be a little easier, or things taken care of, and to have activities that are easily accessible, especially in bad weather, when you can do it all undercover. So the real question is, if you can manage it, at least in our case, we were lucky enough to be able to manage it. It's turned out to be just a wonderful decision to be in a place where we're not worried about having sources of care available if and when we need it.
Yep. Thank you. That was great. That's a great comment and a great issue to try to pay attention to. I wanted to also comment on this issue before we get to the chat. And there's one question on the chat, is whether it's a place for mom, or it's you just looking in the phone book, or it's you just calling Boulder County Aging, or are you talking to your neighbors, or are you talking to your family back east or on the West Coast? It doesn't matter, even if anything is right, is to start the journey of asking questions on how do you want to live, how do you want to try to be healthy, and how are you going to pay for those services? There's a ton of resources out there that are available, but you personally have to dig in, and you have to start asking those questions and filling out the boxes in the spreadsheet. And again, doing that earlier enables you to learn more. And the more you go into it yourself, the more you learn. The more you learn, hopefully you'll still be healthy by the time you have to get the care. It's just a risk, but it's good to do that. It's really, really, really good to do that, and do it as early as possible, because the ease of doing that is you need time to do it, and you need to dedicate time, unfortunately. But it's great to do, and to do it early, and to work with financial advisors that can take the complexity and actually put it in the spreadsheet. Go ahead. More. And Peter, we'll get to you soon
Another question.
on the chat.
Okay. I have another question. Or not a question, but comment. I was told when I was looking around that it's actually financially more of closer. Okay. Now can you hear me? Okay, good. I was told that if you financially, it made more sense to go earlier into one of these CCCs that you call them, where you pay to come in. Is that what you called it? A CCC?
Continuing care facilities.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That usually you have to pay a lump sum to join them, and that it's more financial beneficial to go earlier than later, because you'll get more for your money then. Is that true? Do you understand my question? Maybe not.
Yeah, absolutely. That is correct. If you're starting early and you've paid the entrance fee, and let's say you live there for 30 years, well, you're able to stretch that initial down payment over 30 years. Whereas if you waited until you were in your 80s and maybe you only lived 10 years, you've now just received 10 years of care for probably the equivalent or close to the same amount. And that kind of goes in tandem with Peter's question through the chat. So he said, can you review the typical funding approaches for retirement communities Example, ongoing monthly charge versus buy-in versus both. So the upfront large payment or lump sum entrance fee, those are very common for the continuing care retirement communities. The month to month is common outside of those facilities. And recall the difference between those is the continuing care retirement community offers multiple levels of care need. So from independent living to assisted living to memory care to skilled nursing. And if you're one of those that will need all of those through your lifetime, it really provides an ease of not having to constantly move or change your environment when you need to change your care needs. You're able to stay at that same place and receive the care you need.
Thank you, Nate.
One other comment that I would make that it relates to what Jerry said about doing it early is that, I mean, one of our goals was really to move before we had to move. And the thing that to keep in mind as well is that there's not always a place available when you need it. So some of the facilities have waiting lists, and we looked at it as kind of like an insurance plan. We weren't sure that we were ever going to move someplace, but it wasn't terribly expensive to get on the waiting list. And then when we did decide we were ready, we'd been on the waiting list for 6 years or something, but there were apartments available then that we could choose from. So that's another thing to think about. Even if you're not ready now, it's good to start thinking about that and maybe getting on the list of places that you're interested in.
That is a great recommendation. I would second that and make that maybe a primary thing to put on your list to figure out which facilities you are considering and do get on those waiting lists. Because if you aren't, it will take some time for you to get access to available units.
So I have two things. One, a realization that dawned on me recently, which is that nothing can really prepare you for aging. It's kind of like having your first child. You know things, but you don't know what it's like. And so, you think, well, I can do that in 5 years. You may not be able to do it in 5 years because your brain isn't functioning the way it needs to. The other thing is, in terms of expenses, at least here at Fraser, if you're a couple living in independent living and one person moves to assisted living, your expenses really go up because you're paying for both.
Nate, I have another comment or question related to this journey of you go early. Can you afford to go early? Can you afford to pay the $1 million of selling your house or whatever you get out of it to a facility? Or do you wait and you kind of look at some hybrid situation where you take a risk and you may need something else? But from my research, and maybe you can comment on this, I think that the private sector facilities that go month to month, that they ask for a community fee, but it's $15,000 instead of $1 million. They offer allied services and possibilities close by and work very hard to keep you in that facility and keep you healthy. And they're coming much closer to the CCCs as the CCCs perhaps are drifting towards what the private facilities offer. And it's a real interesting question to ask what are the differences in real services while you're living versus while somebody needs a lot of different kinds of health services. And it's a fairly complicated issue, and there's no linear answer to that either, I don't think.
No, you're right. I mean, it's going to be a case by case basis. And I think it really comes down to what do you need now? And what do you think you might need in the future? And there's no guarantee of what the future is going to bring for any of us. But I think the key to all of this is being informed and understanding what your options are in all areas, whether you choose to do the month to month or you choose to do the lump sum buy-in. Understand what it is you're getting, or understand what it is that you're not going to be getting if you choose the other avenue. The services provided for what it is you're paying for are important, and doing a side-by-side comparison should help you move in the direction of finding that solution for yourself.
Nate, what do you get returned, or what gets returned to the family at the end of your life here, let's say in Fraser, or compare it to something else after putting in so much money?
Yeah, so that's going to be dependent on the facility. Fraser has an option. They do have an option for a portion of that buy-in to be returned. It's not all of it, and I don't know the exact amount. They also have an option for no refund, which changes your initial buy-in. So there's multiple cost structures, not just at Fraser, but at every community that you're going to be looking at, which is why it's super important to, one, list out which ones you'd like and would like to visit, and then take the time to go visit and speak to each one of them about their cost structure, what that cost structure provides from a service standpoint, and ask what if. You know, today I'm healthy, I might need a little bit of help here and there, but what if I need to increase my care? What does that type of pricing look like? So that you can get an idea of how that feels. When I work with my clients, we build a plan, a full financial plan, to let them know, hey, here's where you are today. And then we build out what if scenarios, up to 4 of them, of saying, okay, well, what if we needed dual care? One of us was in memory care and the other one was still in independent living, and our costs have just doubled from the need. How does our plan work? Are we able to afford it, or are we going to have to look at other options? So super important, one, to understand each cost structure that is offered for the ones that you're looking for, but then two, finding out, what happens if I do need more care? How do those costs work? And again, they're going to be different for each organization that you're working with or facility that you're looking at.
Nate, this is Hill again. One other consideration where I tend to think medically. Coming to a community, whether it's this or some other community, also can bring with it some features that help continue your health status, whatever it is, when you arrive. Because living independently outside of a community like this, for many people, leads to more and more isolation. It's harder and harder to get to activities. It's harder and harder to interact with neighbors or friends. And we now know and understand that having continuing social interaction, having continued participation in activities, having people who you develop supportive friendships with, can in fact keep you reasonably healthy longer than if you're isolated. So that's another factor to consider in making a decision to find a way to afford whatever the best community is for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Hill.
I have a comment. If we don't take care of it ourselves, we're going to end up leaving it in the hands of our children, and they'll end up having to scramble the last minute. And if you really trust your kids, then that's okay. But I pride myself in the fact that I get rid of all the things I don't need so that when they come to my house, if I pass away, they won't be cursing me when they go through 50 photo albums and wonder what to do with it. So I don't want my kids to wonder what to do with me. I want to have these things in place because any last minute decisions that they would have to make is frightening for both me and my kids.
Other comments or questions? Anything else online?
I just checked. I didn't see anything. I'll check one last.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Nate, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nate.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I hope I help provide a little bit more in regards to resources and information, and good luck to you all. If you have questions that come up, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to assist. Shoot me an email or give me a phone call, and I'm happy to help out.
Yeah, and this is going to be recorded. This has been recorded, I think. So we'll be able to post that on our site through PAR, so people can access the recording of this event. Thank you so much, Nate.
Great. Enjoy the day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And if anyone wants that budget sheet, let Jerry know and he can get a copy of that to you.